sure that the audio is working, just in case the audio wasn't working. So glad to see you guys, just in case. So maybe the audio was working, maybe the audio wasn't. Again, in this specific session, what we're going to be covering is it's the Oneness Principle. Okay, and this is one of the books that that I am working on right now. So it's one of the books that I'm working on writing, and I'll just jump into it just a little bit so you can see. It's called the Oneness Principle. And the full title of it is The Oneness Principle, Unveiling the Universal Language of Perception. So again, for those in the Perception Hackers group, again, welcome. For anyone else, welcome. If you're on live, welcome. So the key of this, so this way you understand, again, what it is that we're working on, okay, is it's in a sense the prism of perception. It's kind of how our minds shape reality, okay, and what reality actually is, diving in and connecting it to all aspects of whether it's business, technology, it's going into philosophy, it's going into religion, kind of most all of these things. It's a very, very broad aspect, but we narrow it in through processes. So the perception, think of the perception as massive, but it's detailed through processes. And this is the same way that business works and anything else that we do actually works. So it starts there. And one of the books that we have right now, so again, going through the process of this book. So it's a detailed process of it, but I'm going to kind of explain to you from kind of the start of it and how it connects. So kind of how our journey works. So we have our perception hackers journey. This is what we call it, the perception hackers journey. Okay, perception hackers journey. Okay, and for some people that are on it, this is a new concept. Some people coming into our process, new concept. Some other people not so much a new concept. But basically, how it works, and I'm doing this video from home. You're gonna hear my son in the background. I will do my best to make sure that the audio is good by turning down my gains, by making sure that the mic is right in front of me and not behind me. So this way we can make sure everything is good. Okay. But basically what happens on this journey is this. So it's very simple. So the very first thing that somebody does, they come in through the journey. The very next thing that we do is we break down the goals, because all of us have goals, and these goals in a sense dictate the outcome that we seek or the perception that we seek. Okay. And some of these goals could be something as simple as I want to make $30,000 a year, right? Or I want to make $30,000 a month, or I want to make $30,000 an hour, right? The goals expand based on the individual's perception and reality of, again, the world of what we're dealing with, right? It varies, basically. It varies on the individual. So one of the cool things about this journey is this. So we all have goals. If not, there's a step or a process to develop some goals. But we all have a goal. In this case, it is a desire, okay? And how the desire works, so again, with the goal mindset. So with the goal mindset, kind of how it works, okay? How this whole process, in a sense, works is we have a goal in mind, okay? From our goal in mind, there's specific ways that we reach our goal. What we do is we have to define our goal, because we have to think reality. How does this goal actually work in our life? How does it go through our conscious? How does it get into our subconscious? How does it get into our actions? And how do our actions and the things that we do on a day-to-day basis reflect into the perception of, in a sense, this world? So if we went a little bit deeper, so I'll just jump into a little bit deeper. Let me just jump into our perception hackers piece. So we'll go into perception hackers. Okay. We're going to dive a little bit deeper on this so that we understand it. You understand the designs of it. Okay. So we'll come into law of attraction, how it works. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in a sense, copy this guy right here. Let's copy this, make it easy. So if you notice what I'm doing, if you're following what I do, if you followed the past, I build a sample of something, whether it's a marketing strategy, doesn't matter, email strategy, doesn't matter. I build a module so I can go back to it and copy it. This way I can use one process and link those one processes to multiple things, okay? but I'm going to kind of go through, again, the perception hacker's journey. This is something that you can do on your own, something that should be extremely valuable. Not just like, oh, how do I market? You can learn that on YouTube. Like the reality is you can learn, how do I Facebook? How do I email? How do I do these things? You can learn all of this stuff on YouTube. There's a deeper understanding of analyzation, though, that it's hard to learn. The things that I like to go over are the things that are difficult to understand. They are difficult to learn. I like going over those concepts because all the other concepts are variables, and the variables are based on who is doing it better, which you can easily learn and implement those into your own strategies, your own systems, okay? But I'm going to go over quickly the perception hacker's journey. So the first thing that we start with is a goal, and we defined that goal, okay? From that definition, there's a certain process that we take to define it. But basically what it ends up doing, so let me send that to the front, it ends up developing into our goal cards. So now, why do we design goal cards? Why do we have goal cards within the perception hacker's journey? Why is our main thing the success programming, right? And the reason is because we have to alter or quote unquote hack your perception, right? Because right now you might have a perception of, hey, I'm a millionaire, I'm good to go. Or you might have the perception of, dude, I can't even make it. I can't make it. I'm working 9 to 5. I'm running, I'm slaving to an Uber. I'm doing all of this stuff. Maybe that's your perception, right? But you have to be able to hack your perception to get what your goals are and your desires are. It's not just as simple as, I have a goal. Great. This is my goal. And that's it. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. There's a process to everything, just like the way that you market, right? The way that you do a Facebook ad, the way that you're so knowledgeable when you do an email campaign or anything else, right? There's a specific process to hacking your perception, okay? Not a lot of people teach it. That's why we have it here. That's why we're the perception hackers. That's what this group is, right? Perception hackers. So that being said, so the first thing that we do is we go through our goals and we define our goals. We utilize tools such as 7 levels deep, right? We utilize those type of tools, or different things that like Tim Ferriss teach, right? Or any of these big gurus they teach. We utilize these tools as systems to define, it's just defining our goal, the reason, okay? So if you read Think and Grow Rich or any of those other books by either Napoleon Hill or Earl Nightingale, like any of their books, they're awesome to kind of go through this. But you're going to find that goal cards are related to your auto-suggestion, your day-to-day consistency. But I just wanted to go over quickly how the process works. So how the process works is, first you have a thought, a goal, right? That's your goal. It's a thought. Your goal or your thought is an idea, meaning if we broke down the kingdoms, these are the kingdoms that I teach, and they'll be taught in the One Principle in the book too. If you break down the idea, this will be taught in your middle kingdom. So we call it a middle kingdom. It's your directional purpose. This is where those thoughts and desires, they lay within this reality, and they're good to have, right? But the thing that you're wanting to alter is 2 things. You're wanting to alter the other 2 kingdoms, which I'll go over. You have your foundational reality. This is anything and everything that is in your measurable reality, and your the highest or the utmost high kingdom. And what the utmost high kingdom is your perceivable self or your source. This is how things, in a sense, are the perception of things, internal and external, are for you, as you are the constant. Again, I'm not going to go too deep in that. This is within some of their studies, okay? And you'll end up finding this within the book. So if you read the book that I'm coming out with, if you read the book, you'll understand it, and it'll give you an idea on perception. It'll give you an idea of how to hack perception, not only how to hack perception, but literally who we are. It'll give you every detail that you could probably seek after. You'll find it in the book. It will be a very, very strong book. Again, I have little samples. If you want to read it, you say, I don't believe it, I'll give you samples of it. Just message me and say, Cam, give me a sample of the book. You say it's so good, give me a sample of it. It's like, perfect, okay? And even when you go down the path of that book, you'll realize the writings and everything, the ideas and everything, and the concepts and everything, they have been cross-checked, cross-referenced with almost every religion, every scientific source, most everything, to make sure they are as true as possible. That's the process that we went through, or that I went through to write the book. It's very intense. and it's very mind shifting. Again, perception hacking, right? That's the idea of it. But anyways, diving a little bit deeper. So goal cards, again, any thoughts that we have that go into our conscience, things to get into our subconscious, they have to follow a few different steps. So they have to go through our logical aspects of our brain, our emotional aspects of our brain, and then our fight or flight response. So if you jump in like your neocortex, if you jump into your mammalian aspects of your brain or your reptilian aspects of your brain, you'll understand that. I'm not going to go too deep into it. The science is there. I can go deep in it. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you haven't. But anyways, I'll just kind of skip. But there's a specific way to get ideas to your conscience or your subconscious. And from your subconscious, your body normally acts and has a consistent action to create something. So in a sense, your subconscious reacts with your body, and then your body has actions. And based upon those routines of those actions, they start changing your environment, right? Your environment starts changing. And from the way that your environment changes, your perception becomes altered. And then once your perception's altered, you start perceiving things, the universe, a little bit different, right? And you could perceive even your spirituality different, or any aspects of your brain a little bit different. I'm not going to go down that path. This path was covered in a previous series of what we have. I'm just going to go down the journey, okay? So anyway, so now what we have is we have the journey, okay? So you have your goals. There's a certain process to define your goals, okay? From that, it's going to go a little bit deeper. Again, I apologize. My son's in the back. My son works with me all the time. So if you're somebody who works with me, I have big corporations that work with me, you'll know that my son is there all the time. I don't care. I don't care who you are. My son's going to be there, right? And the reason why he's better than you, no, but I know that that's arrogant, but still, like I love him more. So, but that being said, okay, we go through our goals. From our goals, okay, we need to discover who we are. So this is in a sense of self-discovery. And the reason that we go from our goals, okay, we have to get a little bit vulnerable going in this path. The reason for it is so we can start identifying factors and measuring the logics, measuring the emotions, measuring those things. But there's a confidence that most of us are missing. And this is where the self-discovery takes place. And the self-discovery, this is in a sense right where this book comes into place. The Oneness Principle. Again, the Oneness Principle, it's the Oneness Principle unveiling the universal language of perception. Okay. That's what it is. It's understanding how perception works. And it's understanding it we teach it in three main kingdoms. I call them kingdoms, they're stages. This is what I call them, right? Since I discover, I teach this stuff. This is, you can call it my ministry. If you want to call it my ministry, you can call it whatever you want to call it. This is what I teach, okay? But I teach first self-discovery. How I teach self-discovery, I'll show you 3 steps. So I teach it in foundational reality. Again, this is the science of everything. So if anyone knows, my background is biomedical engineering. I studied the processes of the human body. I studied the processes of, again, everything that we have in a sense in this universe. That's what I love. I love that more than anything. Okay. The next one, I'll just call this, this one is your directional purpose. Directional purpose. I'll show you what even the book states them as. Okay. And then this one is in a sense your self or your source. Self-source or perceivable self-source. Okay. So this is, in a sense, the kingdoms in which we teach with self-discovery. So how it works is this one is we call it our low kingdom. There's a reason for it. Like there's a reason for everything. The directional purpose, we call this one the middle kingdom. And I've had so many people ask, well, Cameron, why do you call it kingdom or stages or whatnot? Why do you call it kingdoms? Because I chose to. That's the reality of it. No, but I look at most everything as like it's a kingdom or it's an empire, right? That's what I look up. It's a kingdom or an empire. And if we understand that and this construction of that, we are still respecting the past, because that's what people are doing. We're still respecting the process of it. The key is understanding and respecting the process of it. Okay. But anyways, I do a self-discovery. Okay. And the self-discovery starts with, we can start in 2 spots, either your directional purpose, your foundational reality, right? It's hard to start here. Your self and source is hard to start with because you don't know who you are. And that's hard for me to come to you and say, hey, I'll tell you who you are. You won't believe me. So I never start there. I usually start here. I always start a tiny bit here, and then I bring you back here. That's always the case. But how this process works, again, the journey that we teach, okay, I'll just zoom in so you can see it. Here, I'll zoom in a better, different way. Let's see if I can. Okay. Okay, let me just make sure it, I love it when it does this. Let me just do this. Plus, there we go. Minus, 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 plus, plus, plus. Well, that's weird. Okay, let me just try to get this back. There we go. Cool. Sorry, I missed this. Okay, so now within the foundational reality, what we teach is anything and everything that is physical and measurable. Okay. Physical and measurable. And if you saw my latest chat GPT, my journey, if you saw that one, you'll realize the details of what this is. Okay. And again, I'm telling you, if some people jump on the live, some people jump off on live, I'm telling you this stuff, if you understand this stuff, it's more valuable than learning a marketing strategy. I promise you it's more valuable than learning these things. Because once you understand these things, you don't have to learn the marketing strategy. You create the marketing strategy. You create it. And if you understand the deep understanding of the stuff, if you truly understand it, you can, again, you can hack your perception. You can hack it. It's one of the hardest things to do. Hardest things. And if you want to join me live on this, like if you have questions, join me live. Okay. Jump in here. Like I'm open to questions. You can ask me different things. I'm open to it. You can come in and share with me. But anyways, coming here, foundational reality. Okay. Everything measurable, meaning if you're selling a product that's measurable, meaning the atoms, the molecules, measurable, the quantum physics, measurable. Okay. So now this is broken down in a few different sections. It's broken down in a sense, your quantum physics, your normal physics. So it's broken down into, again, if you want to start in the beginning, that's where we start. So we say everything physical, so that way it's an easy idea without me going too deep. From there, what I do is very simple. I take through steps. So the very first step is you have the creation of this, what is called world, universe in a sense. I'll just call it the creation. Okay. And I do my very best on this to not actually go down the spiritual journey, meaning, oh, there's a God. Oh, God created it. No. I focus on the science of it. Okay. So that way you understand the processes, because the processes are the details. The perception is the overall view of it, but the processes are the details. So I go through the details of the creation. So what, again, the details are, I'll give you a quick synapse of it. Okay. So let's just take the science, whether you believe in a Big Bang or not, we'll just call it a singularity. You have singularity. From your singularity, what ends up happening is you have a separation, okay, of plasma in a sense. And even before then, you have a density of matter, there's an explosion, or there's something that happens that unites and expands things, right? We'll just call it something, right? Whether it be Big Bang or anything else, right? We just have an expansion of stuff. Or you can say, okay, we don't have an expansion. We just have we have nothing. Like subatomic particles is what we have. And those subatomic particles come together. So I'll explain it right there, because that's measurable in this world. Okay. So what we do is we start from the start. What is measurable? Okay. We go all the way back. What is measurable? And then what we do is we take first the fundamental forces of this world, this universe. So we have the weak force, the strong force, the electromagnetic force, and gravity. That's what we take. So when we take those, okay, we first start with, okay, we have subatomic particles. Those subatomic particles come together through weak force. They create, in a sense, a weak force, which is it's an interaction between one another. Okay. Once they pull together, you start getting subatomic particles that form into a proton. Okay. Well, that proton has this force that's then generated that holds them together, called a strong force. And the same thing for any element in this world. You have multiple protons that come together, So you can call them hydrogen atoms that come together to create every single atom that we have in this world, right? That's how they work. They come together in a perfect way, and then all of a sudden you have two protons or two hydrogens that fuse together to create a helium, right? And so on and so forth, okay? So we go through that process, okay? And again, sometimes it's like, well, that's weird. It makes sense. I promise you. At the end, it makes sense. A lot of information, but at the end, it makes sense, okay? So we go through and say, okay, here's the formation of subatomic particles. Here's the formation of protons, okay? So now we have protons. Then from there, we have an accumulation of protons, okay? So first, the proton and the strong force gave rise to something called the electromagnetic force. This is a force that allows for interactions between one proton, or you can call it element, and another element, okay? Once those condense a little bit together, right? So you have a bunch of hydrogens together, there's a formation of another interactive force called gravity, okay? And now you have gravity. Certain mass together creates gravity, okay? Once you get enough of those together, okay, and you have the presence of gravity, this starts creating what we would see as stars, okay? So the formation, in a sense, of stars. They're mostly condensed of hydrogens. However, there is a core to the star, okay? How the core works, so this way you know, is you have a perfect environment, okay? The things that were organized in perfect harmony gained what's called like a superpower, what's called quantum superposition. It's an act or process of quantum superposition, meaning multiple different positions, multiple different states. It found the perfect state and it came together as one. That perfect state allowed that superpower to happen, that fusion to happen. And that created hydrogen to helium. And now there's a reaction, right? But the things got dense. The more dense they got, so more hydrogens, in a sense, were together, dense, right? Since those interactions work together, it also strengthened the gravity at that point. And that gravity then could create a chain reaction, okay? And if you follow how a black hole would work, you can follow that same chain reaction using the same processes, and you can see the formation of a black hole, and you can see exactly what happens with the black hole. You can see it, okay? A little bit different, but if you follow that path, you could measure it, you can see it. Go through the science and you can see, even they'll say, well, it's not measurable. It is. Go through the science. You'll be able to see it, I promise, okay? Next, okay, you had stars, and the stars, in a sense, broke apart, came together, exploded, and whatnot. And you have different things that created planetoids. And on those planetoids, there were resonance from the fusions and stuff that happened that gave us, in a sense, some of the compounds that we have now. One of those compounds being water, right? Water is two hydrogens and an oxygen, okay, coming together. So you had to have fusion to make those oxygens, right? And the hydrogens are without the fusion. So there's another interaction that happens. So first you have some interactions that happen on different metals. So you have, like, first you have an ionic bond, right? It's just an interaction that happens on some metals, right? Then you start having covalent bonds, okay? But there's a special bond that happens, which is a dipole moment. It's weaker than all of those, and it's very present in water. So if you take a look at water, okay, if you're looking at water, it has a ton of these dipole moments. When you have a lot of it together, you have a ton of these dipole moments, and then there's a pattern that ends up existing within there, and it's the same pattern that formed the first hydrogen fusing with the hydrogen, same pattern that was present for the gravity, same pattern that was present for the strong forces, the weak forces, all of those, the same pattern that's present everywhere, right? I call this the divine pattern. That's just what I call it, right? But anyways, there's this process or pattern. We'll call it that. We'll identify it that, because it's kind of like an algorithm. It's a little bit different, though. But it is measurable. You can measure it within the water and the principles and characteristics of the water. You can measure it within the snowflakes and the formations of the snowflakes with how they are. I mean, if you've seen the majestic beauty of them or of clouds, how they work, it's also present in, again, anything that is present with water, from the cells that we have, leaves outside, trees that we have. If you want a deeper understanding, go study Taoism, you'll understand that. So we end up going through steps of creation, right? We kind of start connecting it down here into Taoism. I spell it right? Maybe it's T-O-A. We connect it a little bit here into Taoism, right? Not so much into religion, not a ton, but a little bit, okay? So we connect it into a little bit of Taoism. So there's a process of creation. We'll just call it the start. So I'll just call it like we have a start, right? Start in a sense of creation. And all I'm saying is a start of creation. To put identity on it is all it is. We have to have a starting point. But this is, in a sense, our discovery of what we teach, okay? So we do a start of creation. From there, that process, that divine pattern that I just shared with you, divine pattern, okay? Again, some of you are probably like, well, why the heck would you even talk about this in business? I don't know why. Why do you think? Okay, it's relevant and it connects with everything that we have. That's why I do it. Okay, once you understand it, then you're like, oh, okay, cool. But okay, so we go through the start of creation. We identify that, identifying that divine pattern, identifying in a sense a little bit of Taoism, meaning the beauty. Taoism is basically the beauty is within the patterns or within the systems, right? And then what we do, so we take them down this path, right? Taoism is an idea of it. We end up bridging this gap to the formation of DNA, RNA, genetic material. We end up bridging that gap, okay? Then we end up bridging this gap to our cells, right? So our cells, and then we end up bridging this gap to the complexity of process. I'll just call it that, the complexity of process within our body. I'll just call it of human process or biological. There we go, biological process. But it's not just in biological process. We just, again, that's what we teach. It's in kind of multiple different things. And then we connect this into our neurons, okay? Neurons, and then from our neurons we start connecting it into our consciousness. Okay. And the reason that we do this, so this way, so that's not way you're like, why the frig would you even do this? Come close to this. Like, we're talking about goals. Why the frig are we going to clear the frig over here, right? It's because your goal is an idea, and we have to understand the foundation, measurable foundation, to be able to create that idea. So that's why we go through this process. But anyways, we go through again, neurons, and then again, this Taoism or synergy, we go over the synergy aspects of it, synergistic properties, and I'll just, thank you, there we go, synergistic properties, okay, we go over those, again, and all we're doing is connecting these dots because our goal is, again, self-discovery. We need to show you who you are. And the only way to show you who you are isn't to just say, hey, John, what's up, man? How are you? You can't do that. I mean, we could, but it's not going to install your confidence. The goal is to install confidence into self-discovery. This is why we do it, okay? But then we go into the neurons, again, synergistic property, right? And then that synergistic property, this is where this thing would connect. The synergistic property would connect with our consciousness, and our neurons would connect with our consciousness. These, in a sense, would become one. And this is the same teachings and processes of Taoism. Okay. Not that you have to understand it, know it, or anything. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just knowing there's synergistic properties, there's complexity in properties, and that process that's found here is also found in water. And that, here, I'll put divine pattern. I missed one. We'll just put water. We'll skip some. It's water, but if you watch this, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. But we end up connecting all of these because we want to come back to consciousness. Okay. So that way we can then say, okay, we call this the foundational reality. We have the foundational reality completed, right? And it's like, yes, you do. Okay. And this is, again, anything and everything measured. So this, we start with what you know, because the only things you can know is your perception. That's the only thing you can know. You don't know my perception. You don't know anyone else's perception. And the sad part is a lot of marketers are trying to sell our products, our services. We're trying to sell our products and services to clients but we're trying to push our perception onto them. And you can't do that. I mean, you can, right? You're trying to assume that you know their perception, assume that you do, and try to teach them that. You can't do that. You can only teach your perception. So teach your perception and you're going to do better. Okay. But that being said, this is, again, a little bit different. Let me now follow this path. So anyways, a quick summary. The book covers a lot more of this. Okay. But the quick summary is our goal is to connect foundational reality, this consciousness, to connect them. That's our goal. Okay. The main goal is, okay, well, here's everything in the measurable reality. Now, how do we connect them? Again, we have directional purpose. This is like our thoughts. This is our desires, our passions, our feelings, right? These are the things that are not necessarily physically measured, but they can be emotionally measured, right? You'll again, when you read it, you'll understand the exact details of the metaphysical world, right? I in a sense, go over those. But the goal is connect that consciousness. Okay, what we do at this state when we're with an individual, again, think about this. Who the frig takes somebody through this intense of learning? Not a lot of people. They focus on the surface level crap. Okay, this is why being a perception hacker, why it's so important. Not a lot of people teach this stuff, but it is measurable. I mean, it's measurable, like literally, like it's not, don't take my word for it. Go study it, go study it, go study it, go study it. You'll find it everywhere. Okay. It's not organized. People suck at the understanding of this. They don't suck. They're amazing. So they don't suck, but they just don't want to teach us. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But anyways, so you have your consciousness, and then we take the individual. So they're going through let's say their self-discovery, right? We take them now through a process here. We say, okay, you understand and you see that, right? And we make it complex. Like what I mean by complex is we say, okay, sit back and imagine. So some of the thought processes, it's like, sit back and imagine for a second. Okay. Look at if you're on a desk or you're on a phone, look at it in front of you right now. Okay. Sit back and breathe for just a sec. Close your eyes. We say, look at it. Look at what's in front of you. Okay. Imagine what's in front of you. Okay. Imagine if you have screens in front of you, monitors in front of you, and we take them down this thoughtful journey. And what the thoughtful journey is to see the chaos. And what I mean by that is you see your house or your apartment or wherever you're living, then you almost zoom out, and then you see your neighbors, and then you zoom out, and then you start seeing the city and all of the city and what's going on and the complexities of the city and all the pain and all that stuff. So we take through a thought process so somebody can analyze and see, right? Analyze and see perception, not just their own, but they can start visualizing others' perceptions. They can start seeing truly how complex it is. And we take them through a process of literally, like, it's like you're going through a wall. You're seeing every aspect and every build of that wall, right? You're seeing every aspect and every build of the room, of the house that you're in. You're seeing the carpet, the textures of the carpet. Like, it's purposeful to make it crazy, crazy, crazy complex, right? So that way people can start seeing, wow, what are all the influences that are affecting us on a not even a day-to-day, but a second-to-second or a millisecond. What are all the, whoa, holy crap, there's so much, oh my gosh. And it's like, okay, you see all those stuff. Now you can visualize them, and then we take somebody through the process of eliminating them. And our goal is we go from chaos, I'm giving you just a summary of it, chaos to order. That's the goal, right? Chaos, you see the chaos, oh my gosh. Now take somebody to order. So we slowly go through steps to eliminate the sight, to eliminate the sound, to eliminate the taste, to eliminate the touch, to eliminate, in a sense, the normal, there's more than 5 senses, right? Because people can feel hot and cold. Like, there's more than 5 senses that are identified, but we take them through a process of all of them. Okay. If we're going deep with somebody, all of them. And the goal is to get to the point of nothingness. That's the goal. So the goal is chaos to order, to bring this into nothingness. And that's like a complete visualization of nothingness. It's a hard state of mind. It's like meditating on steroids. It's crazy. It's crazy. But this is, in a sense, our goal. So our goal is to get there. And the reason that we want to get there is they analyze all of the different perceptions, all of the different perspectives, all of the different everything. They brought it to nothingness. They brought order to all of it and brought it to nothingness. And then from the nothingness, there's a similarity that exists. There's a oneness, right? So like in that book, the Oneness Principle, right? It's now there's a oneness, which that oneness is the universal constant that we live in. So when breaking down this oneness, we go through, like, let's say you have family. It's like, hey, your family's temporary. I know that sounds terrible, but they are. All your friends are temporary. Your business, your every detail in your life is temporary, besides this very one state, this very one perception that you're living in now. Everything else is temporary. And what I mean by that is family dies, friends die, business acquaintances move on or die, or whatever the case is. But people, I mean, if you take a look at everything, there's really, it's you. You are the only consistent, but not only you, it's a perception. It's the perception that you have, the very perception that you have, right? So when we eliminate it to nothingness, well, if we went through the chaos of you absorbing or observing the other's perceptions, meaning it's trying to feel their pain, trying to feel their empathy, trying to do these things, you can't quite do it, but you can gain the compassion to be able to do it. That's the chaos. And when you bring it to order, bring it to nothingness, you start to realize that there is one consistency in this entire universe. And it's built within the kingdoms. There's just one consistency. And the consistency, in a sense, is you. Once you understand that, and then you start seeing, well, all these other people that are perceiving their realities, they're perceiving it in a different way based off of influence. And we go over that specific influence so people understand the specifics of the influence, okay? And then from there, it's a common reality. You start realizing, well, what's the difference between me and somebody else? It is the exact. The only difference is the influences and experiences that we have, but the perception is the exact perception, the exact oneness, meaning you at that specific point, what our goal is to teach, see, you are me and I am you. We are all one, but we're living a different perception. And that's, in a sense, the oneness principle, right? And then from there, it's like, oh, right, there's some tests and some things and some understandings to go to. But now this oneness becomes the connection to the highest or the most high kingdom, right? And there's a complexity in the most high kingdom because, again, this piece right here, this is where all the religions and everything sprout from. This is where, again, if you're a Christian, it sprouts from here. This is with every one of your beliefs in this entire world on a spiritual base, whether you're atheist or, again, whatever you are, they sprout from yourself and your source. They sprout from the influences of your lowest kingdom, your foundational reality, the influences of your middle kingdom, all the way to the connection of your oneness. There's a path all the way to your oneness, meaning, like, and you can see this, like, what I mean by that, I'll dive a little bit deeper. Let's say you're consuming chemicals. You're consuming chemicals like, I don't know, not just like beer and drugs and alcohol, not just that, but like, say, the day-to-day, like soda. I know that sounds bad, but just soda, right? Anything that is, in a sense, man-made, anything that is, in a sense, processed, anything that is, in a sense, altered from its original state, anything that, in a sense, has been genetically engineered, anything in the sense, if you take a look, if somebody knew this pattern and knew this process, what would they do? Their goal would be, if they could, infiltrate to oneness, and now they understand every aspect of your perception. They can now sell you any product, any service, anything. They can gain the wealth, the riches from you. They could then enslave you. They can then do anything they want and alter the perception of your foundational reality and alter the perception of your directional purpose. And they don't even have to affect your religion. They don't have to change that, even though a religion can have effect in that as well. Okay. That's the power of why they would want to get to this. And again, you can see it in the chemicals that we eat. You can see it everywhere. Okay. So that's why I say, like, if you do your measurements, I mean, I'm putting it in the book so you can see every detail of it. But the key is oneness connects you to here. And then the kingdom, I'll just call it the utmost high. I'll just connect this down. So this way there'll be sessions. We'll go through each and every one of these things, but this one connects to your now spirituality. your spirit, we'll call it, okay, or just spirituality. Okay, so this now connects into your beliefs, your belief system. And now, if you wanted to alter that belief system, what do? You just impact those few things. Okay, but anyways, this is now that self-discovery. Okay, this is self-discovery. This is the self-discovery in a sense that we go on as a perception hacker. Okay, it's of course a lot more detailed than that, right? But now, what does this do? So this now allows us to serve, because once we understand our oneness, who we are, what we do, we understand it, then what can we do, right? Oneness, well, we can still act, right? Actions, we can act. I can't spell. Actions. We can then create paths for people, right? Whether, again, a lot of those paths have already been created. You can see it in all of the religions. The paths are there, it's present. You can see it everywhere. But then what you can do is you can create actions, actionable plans that help these specific things. So then I can create an actionable plan that helps and serves the foundational reality, right? Then I can create an actionable plan that helps the directional purpose. And guess what I can do? I can be a coach. I'm teaching mentality. I'm teaching how people to be confident, to be constant in their work that they do and their work ethic. I could be a coach, right? And I could mentor or minister. I call it minister. You can then minister your directional purpose, or you can have actions and minister your foundational reality. You can be a scientist and find stuff. But if you take a look, once you understand this, you understand the oneness, what type of actions do you want to do? So we teach two types of actions, right? You have positive actions, meaning you're a positive agent of influence, and you are a negative agent of influence. Negative agent. You're a positive agent or you're a negative agent. I'm sure that you understand the difference of it, right? So you're a positive agent. What do you want to do? What is your goal of the positive agent? Well, you found oneness. You found the answer, if that makes sense, right? You found that, hey, we're all the same. So it's in my best interest to serve you, right? Because it is. You're serving yourself. Why not serve me, right? Why not serve each other? You're serving yourself. Serve yourself. It's okay. So what are you wanting to do here? What's your main goal here? Create order, right? That's your main goal. Create order, organization, right? What is organization? Abundance. Cleanliness, it's abundance, right? That's what you want to do. What do you want to do on this side? Create chaos. What is chaos? Create chaos. What are you going to do when you're going to create chaos? Let's just say you're doing this. You're going to create chaos. What do? Well, you create scarcity. Let me spell it again. You create scarcity. You create negative things that negatively impact either somebody's directional purpose, either somebody's foundational kingdom, or if you can build up enough, then you do it on the self and source. This is where you get like some negative religions and some control, right? Because you could technically come in and you can create a scarcity mindset or a fear-based mindset or a pain-based mindset right here, right? And then you could create, again, you also have the option to create abundance right here. At the end of the day, you get to choose, which is kind of cool. Like I like that aspect of it, that we kind of get to choose. But again, somebody could be an agent of, here, this is bugging me. Let me just make sure that these lines are not overlapping, even though they do overlap in real life. But basically what you do is, let's just say this. Does that make sense? Like, do you guys follow what I'm saying? I hope that everyone in the chat, I mean, you kind of follow what I'm saying, those things. If not, like, of course I'm here. I can answer any questions for you. A lot of people are like, well, how do you discover this stuff? It took me a journey. I mean, I had to travel the world to see. I had to, I mean, if you know my past, frig, I started in biomedical engineering. I'm studying science. That's what I'm doing, right? I grew up in a non-active LDS family, non-active. I kind of took myself to church. I ended up building like a little tribe where we had like a adventure tribe and we went out and had some fun. Then I went up and did like door-to-door sales because I found I was good at convincing and influencing. And then I went through and my door-to-door sales, I went into multiple different doors, multiple different families, learned about so many different people, of how they work, how their mindsets are, tons of stuff. Then I decided to do that internationally. So I went and I taught English. So taught English in China. So I understood the Chinese mindset and how it worked. It's brilliant, beautiful. And then again, going and building some of these companies to just understand, okay, how does the business side of it work? How does the greed side of it work? How do those things? I understood those, to then saying, okay, what if I have nothing? So I went be a nomad and just said, I don't have anything. Can happiness exist with nothing? But a nomad traveled the world and then came to a conclusion saying, you know what? I found a conclusion. People don't know the direction and people don't have a vehicle. If people understand the direction and have a vehicle, the only thing they need is the process to get there, because the process is the detail, and then the perception. The perception dictates the outcome that they have in their life, and the process details the perception. And if you connect those dots, anyone and everybody can create success. Everybody and everybody can create abundance. Anybody and everybody can live the life truly of freedom and truly of what they want. Anybody and everybody. So once I understood that, do you think I wanted to distill it all for myself and say, I'm going to be the master of the world? I'm going to sit here and people are going to bow down to me. Hell no. Because I realized one thing: oneness. You're me, I am you. And then the process, I am that I am. Okay. And then again, how these things compounded, how these things work. Again, this is a general overview. The book goes a little bit more in depth. So, I mean, how the book is, you see a dedication, right? There's a dedication, you can read the dedication so you can see some of the impacts. Table of contents, this is what we cover in the book. So we cover the foundations of perception. These are 3 kingdoms. Again, I went through the 3 kingdoms. We define perception. We define the quantum reality. So that way you understand that the science, the math, and everything behind it. From there, we go over individual perception, how the individual works, how the egos work, like how those things work. Then we go over a collective perception. And then we go over a universal perception. So you understand that. Then we go over the science of perception. Okay. Then we go into the spiritual lens. And then we apply the oneness principle. I kind of just went through oneness principle for you. Then we go into hacking our perception, meaning mastering the perception, using tools and stuff to hack it, embracing, again, the fluidity, or the fluid of reality, of how it can ever change. Okay. And then I go over how it evolves, the evolution of perception, how it works, why it works, so you can see it. Okay. This is just one of the starts of the book. Okay, probably go in a little bit more detail of it. That's just one of the starts of the book. I had some amazing tools help me. So I went through the whole chat GPT, and I'll show you, I'll just even show you what I did. So you can come in and you can read it. It is very, 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 very long. I mean, if you take a look at the prompting, this is just the prompting. I mean, I'll show you where, okay, so I'll show you. This is where the prompting starts. Okay, prompting, 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 all the way down, prompting. We're still going through prompting. I'm still prompting this freaking thing. Like, still training, still prompting, all the way down, still prompting. I just prompt it now who I am, right? So I mean, look at how many pages we are. And now I'm prompting it about who I am, okay? My life, what happened to me, my experiences, okay? Then it understood my life, my experiences, understood my education, where I went through, and then started jumping into the book stuff. Is that probably the longest prompt ever? I mean, I don't know how many pages that is, but it's the prompt is from here. This is, in a sense, one of the end prompts, all the way up to all of this stuff is just prompting it, just to make sure it understands it. So that way, when I'm writing stuff, I can write my own ideas, my own systems, making sure everything's placed. And if you read through this, I shared it. You can read through it if you want. I'm asking it. So I'm teaching it first. I'm teaching it. Okay. And then I'm teaching it to understand, like, again, this is correct. The negative influence of the focus, balance of the lack, while the positive. So I says, do you understand this? So I understand. Do you understand? Do you understand? Do you understand all the way? Then I had a cross check. So I says, this is all the information. I want you to cross-check with all of the references and sciences that you know to make sure that the mindset works. Can you do that? Did it and says it is an alignment with any and all scientific process, any and all physiological or philosophy prospects, as well as religious pieces. So I tied all of it together. I even went down into the Gansfield effect. So you understand the Gansfield effect, the science of it, like it goes deep. The prompting goes deep, right? And then from there, so this way, you know, this is being written to a book. We're pushing this into seminars. So I end up putting it into seminars and yeah, just organizing it so we can actually have a seminar for it, actually have events for it, these things. So that way, again, you have the tools. Again, the tools right now is being empowered by G-Funnel Business, G-Funnel Link. Those are the tools that we've organized and put together so you can help create. But my goal is take you through this process, get you to self-discover. Once you self-discover all of the stuff, so let's say we start down here. Let's say this is the button, and I say it comes down to you know who you are. That's a big freaking process. Like if it's a sales process, that's a long process. Hopefully it's not, okay? But this way you know who you are, right? Once you know who you are, guess what we do? Blueprint session. Blueprint session, so you know what to create. And we go through this blueprint session because, again, who the frig is going to go through those things? Only people of value. There's no diluters going to go through this at all. None. Then all we do is you know who you are. You have the confidence to install who you are. You know what to do. You know all of those things. Very, very easy to build that blueprint. Then we build that blueprint. From that blueprint, we create KPIs. Okay. These are now key performance indicators, so we know that we're on track. And then we create, so we have the blueprint, which is the plans, and then we delegate. Delegate your creation. I'll go into the details of it. Delegate your creation. Because now you know who you're serving, why you're serving them. You know all those things. Okay, you went through our process, so you have value. And now you know again who you are. Once you know who you are, you know who you serve. From there, it's very easy to build out that blueprint session because we have sessions on or processes and processes of all the businesses of everything that you can think of, all there. You have tools to build everything or to have us build it. You'll know the step-by-step processes of exactly what to build. And then again, all you'll have to do is delegate. And then once you delegate, create. And that's it. And through this, we have sessions that are coming out like the law of manifestation. So you understand how it works, the law of gestation, how it works. You have to actually wait. It's not just like, oh, it's done. I lost weight. No. There's a time and a place and a process for that. So it's a crazy mastermind that we're creating. And again, if you're if you're watching this and you're like, oh, I don't have time for all this, it's probably because you're a loser. No, I'm kidding. But it's probably because you don't value yourself enough yet. That's the reason why. It has nothing to do with you being a loser. It has nothing to even be with me. It's simply because you don't value yourself enough yet. You don't value your time enough yet. You don't value who you are enough yet. So that being said, it is my job to teach you who you are through these processes so you can start valuing yourself. You can start building yourself for who you are. You can start impacting this world for who you are. This is all about who you are. This whole program, who you are. If I put a big title on it, I'd put who you are. Actually, I wouldn't. I'd put probably I am that I am. A little bit different. But that being said, I wanted to go over this, and then I wanted to talk to a little bit about the authority as you're building here. So once you come through these processes, again, you know who you are. There are some steps to authority. One of those steps is you need to write a book. You have to have a book. People are not going to value unless you have a book. They won't. Again, I can go through these processes and realistically, how many people do we have watching this video right now? 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe, right? I don't even know. Not a lot. Not a lot. How valuable is this stuff? Now, let me ask you another question. If I had a big book, amazing book, the Oneness Principle, let's say that was the code. Oh my gosh, he's on TED Talks oh my gosh, he's in this, he's in that, he's in that. How many people do you think would be watching this video right now? If not hundreds, thousands. Okay. If it's that big, tens of thousands. I'm telling you, it's based upon the perception at hand. So for me, the easiest way to do it, I'll just write a book, The Oneness Principle, make you read it. You won't read it, right? Maybe you'll read the first few chapters because we're all ADD. No, I'm kidding. I'm hoping that you read it. And then from there, it's just like, wow. It's like, cool. Now you're starting to understand. Now you're ready to go down the process. And by that time, we have our events done. We have our summits done. And the coolest thing in the world is this. I can now bring you to one of my summits. Now that you value me and it's so I have so much authority. Now I can charge you $25,000 to go down this course. I can now charge you $100,000 to go down this program. I could do that now. Okay. I'm literally going through a lot of this stuff at zero cost. Okay. And again, until I switch, and again, maybe you'll see these videos in the future and be like, I wish I was on there at this time. Right. Once the value switches and the authority switches, okay, again, I don't mind charging 25 grand to take somebody down one of the courses. I'll build them out a whole different session. I'll take them over to a resort. I'll do those things. I don't mind doing that, okay? But you have to realize, okay, that doesn't affect everybody. That doesn't impact everybody. So although you may be paying $25,000 and I take you on a unique experience to find you, I take you on that unique experience to find yourself, right? I might do the same thing for a homeless person for $0 because it's part of my charity and I choose to do it. That's the power of this. Now the question is, can you do the exact same? Well, why not? I am you, you are me. You have your own ministry, your own desires, and your own perception. Although it is the same, it is very different. Okay. So my job is literally to take you down that path so you can value you. You can see things truly as they are. And then your goal once there to influence the rest of the world. That simple. Okay. So anyways, this is a little bit of a deeper dive into perception hackers. Okay. And this is the perception hackers journey. A little bit deeper of a dive. Hopefully it was valuable. Okay. Again, most people are not, like, do not truly seek value. They seek result. They seek the quick fix. They seek the drug. They seek, oh, let me hurry and go, right? But ask yourself, does it truly last? I can tell you it doesn't. If you understood who you are and your processes and truly understood and valued yourself, there's only one constant in this world, in this universe, and that is you. Will it last? It better, because you are the only you, and you can last for as long as you choose. So anyways, that's our session. If you have any questions, excuse me. If you have any questions, reach out. I'm here. I love answering them. I love going down and having personal one-on-ones. I love doing those things. Okay. My time's getting occupied quite a bit. Get quite a few people coming in, and whether they're wanting to find themselves or they're wanting to build a system, they come in and we do all of it. Okay. We have a software solution for it. We're creating a charity for it. The charity we're creating is called the threekingdoms.org. Well, that's the website, threekingdoms.org. Building those things out. Again, for people that they saw me a little bit, they came back, they saw me a little bit. I'm here. Open your eyes. Now let's build. Okay. Have a great night, everybody. I was supposed to be off 7 minutes ago, but if you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks so much. We'll see ya. Bye.